Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I never know if I have sound. Doc Intern, good to see you, buddy. This one is called Friday Fire, and this one is fire. Warning. Some of the content you might find offensive, but it's always fun. Friday is the day I get to let rip and say whatever I want. Whoops. I think you may have missed that. I don't even know if the audio is working. I heard a funny ping. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Some of the content. Yes, it is working. Excellent. Let's jump in. Thank you all for being here. Sir Winston, Doc Intern, K8. I don't know. No Sean Donnelly, no TNT Tesla. Wow. At least we got K8. Thank you so much for coming. And let's get into the story. Again, some of the stuff you are about to hear will be quite offensive. And this one is called Wynne Wrecked. There's basically a lot of lessons here that we'll dig into, but really, easy come, easy go, make generational wealth, and then lose it all in 10 days. It's bonkers story. We have to touch on that, but so much more. And not financial advice, as you know. And thank you, Blessed 9802. Patreon is life-changing. Woohoo. And we had fun today. It was a busy day in Patreon. But let's get into the crypto fear and greed. A little bit of a change here in the situation. We have gone from, what were we last week, if I recall? I think 78. Now we're 61. So basically, a little bit of steam has left the machine, which is normal when these things happen. And also today was options expiry, so markets were extremely volatile. And on top of that, we had more China tariff tantrums, which freaked everybody out. And what else? Yeah, the aftermath or the hangover of the Bitcoin conference. No hangover for me. I wasn't there. Thank goodness. But I did report on some of the good things that came out of it. But a lot of people are very disappointed. Zeno, good to see you, buddy. Now, I just want a quick reminder here, and I love this chart. That sometimes the simplest charts get me the most excited. But here, this chart shows you how much Bitcoin there is left to mine over the next 120 years. And yes, it's only 1.1 million Bitcoin for the next 120 years. So if this thing survives, it's going to become very, very valuable. Again, we don't know what the future will hold. We don't know what will be here in 10 years, even 5 years. But it's exciting to watch. We'll be here for it too, hopefully. Beardy's here. Hey, Beardy, how you doing? Now, let's get into the Bitcoin conference. There was some memes going around. I was like, is this a stable coin conference? And now it's like, is this a poop coin conference? What type of conference was this? Well, it was overrun by the altcoin army, literally. Despite in 2020 from, I think, David Bailey, he said it would be Bitcoin only in 2020. Las Vegas, obviously, is a literal poop coin casino. And it became the altcoin poop coin casino in Vegas, which is very fitting. Again, despite years of promising it being Bitcoin only. And 35,000 people were there, okay? Poop coiner Justin Sun promoting wrapped Bitcoin. That was are you kidding me? Is this April Fool's? Wrapped crap is poison. I spent about 2 hours yesterday trying to get, wrapped crap. I didn't even realize I had, anyway, long story. Wrapped is bad. Pure form always. Remember that. But promoting wrapped Bitcoin, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No. And then you have sponsors like Sui, Quantum Bitcoin, Frax, all these names that I never even heard of. And tons of non-Bitcoin projects. And even the main stage hosted by altcoin endorsements, making a mockery of what is Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin, I know it sounds like a bit of a cult or a religion, whatever else, but they should not dilute the message. David Bailey, if you're listening, I've got ideas for how you should structure the next event, or else it's just going to completely dilute the franchise of what is Bitcoin. All right. Again, as I said, pure form, nothing wrapped. This thing became a wrapped version of Bitcoin, literally. Very bad. Anyway, I'll get off my stage. I will, I promise. It's Friday. I love Fridays. I get to garden a bit of the weekend. But shout out to Coffeezilla. Whoa, Coffeezilla. He is the financial investigator, and he critiqued the conference too. And he spoke about, I think, Bitcoin's evolution from an anti-government tool to a government-endorsed commodity. I thought that was quite profound. And the Bitcoin 2025 conference focused on price speculation rather than the original Bitcoin principles. And politicians and grifters co-opting the movement for personal gain. Yeah, Coffeezilla, no happy at all. And he's dead right. Absolutely dead right. So the ethos of Bitcoin is being co-opted, diluted, wrapped even, which is not good. Anyway, back to other news. There's some good stuff here. And some crazy stuff as well. But Jack Mallers' strike /CEP/21/ this whole Cantor Fitzgerald big bundle is going global with Bitcoin lending. And the reason I'm very excited about this as well is because if you can lend out your Bitcoin to live, you never have to sell it. And that will make the asset harder. And that, for me, quite frankly, is completely delicious, everybody. Absolutely fantastic. So we're in it for that. You know, nobody needs to take lifestyle chips anymore. They can just borrow against their Bitcoin, which you can write off for taxes in, I don't know, all nations. You can definitely in the US, which is pretty cool as well. Now, moving on from there, James Wynne loses $100 million. This was a kind of a tricky story, tricky situation. And I was on the Spaces, shout out to Marty as well, with James Wynne. And he sounds like a lovely guy to have a beer with. I was with him for 2 hours about 9 days ago. And we had a fascinating conversation. But it was clear to me, he didn't understand that the market makers were going to hunt him. Basically, he had a huge target on his back and they were going to hunt him. And I remember saying, please move your liquidation level down. Please move it down. Please move down. Take some profits. Put in a stop loss. All the usual stuff you got to do. And I know he was hailed as an overnight hero. Heaven forbid, by the way. I'll zoom out for this. Hopefully people didn't follow him into the trades. There's a big button on Hyperliquid that says copy trade. I guarantee you a whole bunch of people hit that button and lost everything. Okay. Be careful. This was one of the craziest things I've seen in my life. Somebody going literally, it's like that Starship rocket going up in the air and then exploding, which is what it's designed to do for testing purposes. But literally $100 million, that is generational wealth incinerated. Greed kills. Take a little bit off, take your initial investment off the table, etc. But remember, when things are public and you don't never understand the power of markets and money and market makers and big centralized exchanges and other players, they're all out to get you. They all know your entry, your exits, your position sizes. And they are like that. What was the movie with, I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger with the Predator? Like, think of you being the guy in the jungle and all these predators are coming to hunt you. That's basically what they did. Now, I did break down the actual speed at which you can go to $100 million and then lose it all because of liquidation levels. Okay, don't let this happen to you. If you ever get into a perp, it's bonkers. I personally was fascinated by this and tracking the trades and the movements. And I was also scared shitless. Sorry, I said a bad word. Scared poopless because it's shocking. And you could do so much goodness with that type of money. Anyway, I hope he's okay. He became a celebrity overnight. And be careful out there. That was one of the fire stories. One of the 15 fire stories. Extra fire on that one. Now, Santander, another interesting fire story. This allegedly, because I hear from people all over the world for years and years, and I remember distinctly Santander in the UK and other parts of Europe were blocking the ability for people to transfer their fiat to crypto exchanges. They wouldn't let you have access to your money. But now, the Spanish banking giant, Banco Santander, is looking to make Bitcoin and stablecoins available to their retail clients, 175 million of them. So again, Bitcoin is eating the world. You can't stop the train, as they say. And that's just funny how things turn around in a couple of years, from blocking their clients to then doing the same thing with their clients. Very bizarre. Anyway, if you have a Santander bank account, as I said years ago, get out of it. Not financial advice, but if you have money stored with a financial institution and they control what you do with it, get out, find an alternative. Very important. You need to have your operations running so you can invest in what you like. Okay. It's up to you. Of course, don't risk your money or don't go into a scary place. But anyway, let's go. And more. Speaking of banks, they're sitting on $413 billion in unrealized losses, all because of the high interest rates and, of course, bond market going down the toilet. Very bad situation for the banks. If banks were corporations, they would be bankrupt, out of business, gone. Sean D is here. Thank you for coming, buddy. Sorry for being late. And this is another interesting angle, which could be good fire, good fuel for the crypto market. This little company called Arkham does incredible stuff. They're like the Coffeezilla of wallets out there, but they are telling us that FTX is going to distribute over $5 billion of cash claims today in the form of stable coins through BitGo and Kraken, as far as I know. And customers will start to receive their money today and over the next 3 business days. So the money should start hitting today, also Monday and Tuesday. Now, what do you think they're going to do with the cash? That's what I want to know. That's how you should position yourself. I won't say any more because that could be construed as financial advice. But they're not going to sit on their fiat and they're not going to buy gold. And they're probably not going to buy equities. So you can take that as a little hint. And speaking of Arkham again, this was one of the very sensitive, poignant points from the very beginning of the Bitcoin conference. Saylor was asked to basically dox his wallets. And he doesn't do it for so many reasons. You don't want to create that honey pit of exposure for your bags, especially when you hold so much Bitcoin. But in response, Arkham doxes Bitcoin stash against his wishes. Again, they exposed 87 or 88%, I think, of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin addresses and revealing pretty much all of it. And publishing addresses like this is, like I think as Sigler says, it's like publishing the cell phone number for your children. And it exposes you to a lot of risk, etc. But I'm sure Saylor can figure out a way maybe to obfuscate, but it's very, very hard when you got a firm like Arkham watching every move you make. That's the good thing about, hey, Coin Operator, love you too. The good thing about crypto is it's transparent and auditable, etc. But it's a double-edged sword. It's also the bad thing. Anyway, shout out to Arkham and, of course, MicroStrategy. And that's the danger of playing with crypto. It's all out there. Now, there's a lot of talk about banks today. JP Morgan issue a warning. They predict a very bleak outlook for ETH price. And they cite a number of different reasons. I'll brush off my memory here. They believe the institutions are retreating. Okay. They see 2 primary factors behind declining institutional investor appetite for Ethereum right now. Not only because Bitcoin is the big 800-pound gorilla, but funds are securing profits and they're worried about competitors in the crypto space. And also the momentum-driven funds, they're beginning to lose patience and have reduced their trading exposure significantly. And we still don't have staking as well. That'd be an extra 3% kicker on this. So staked ETFs has to be a normal thing. I know the SEC is thinking about it. I don't know where they're going to allow it. Hopefully with the first Sol ETF, that'll come this year. Anyway, we shall see. And sadly, for the ETH ETF buyers, I always struggle with ETH ETF, a lot of ETHs and ETFs, but BlackRock and Fidelity spot Ethereum ETFs are at an average loss of 21%, according to Glassnode. Now, if you had bought the Bitcoin ETF, you're sitting pretty, but not so much with the ETH ETF. It's been a bit of a, how do I say, fizzle and burn and gone down type of thing. So the institutional buyers and buyers are losing faith in that particular asset right now. We'll see. But if you ever try use ETH blockchain with MetaMask, etc., yeah, you'll understand why. Horrible experience last night. Anyway, dual IPOs, and that was not a ding to ETH. I haven't used ETH since 2021, and boy, I realized why. Anyhow, dual IPOs, other crazy news coming out of the cryptoverse. An IPO is when a company issues shares to the public for the first time, but this is one that's kind of special. It's a dual listing, which means they'll be listing companies on two stock exchanges simultaneously in different regions. Now, I haven't dug too much into this, but this is a couple of players here. Obviously, Solana Foundation, Jupiter Exchange are kind of behind it, and also AIX and Intibix. I think one of them is in Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken. But they will now enable companies to go public on public stock exchanges by way of crypto. Unbelievable. I always talk about the convergence of trad finance and crypto. This is yet another example. Think of not real world assets, but something very, very close. Anyway, I don't have specifics on the second exchange involved, but this is exciting. And it's a great way for maybe projects to go public instead of just listing coins, etc. So super interesting. Thank you again, Sean D, for being here. Appreciate all you do. And speaking of more money and speed and everything else, the fastest dApps to reach 100 million, Hyperliquid, the same exchange that, excuse the term, liquidated James Wynne, has reached $100 million in revenue in just 64 days. I wonder how much of that he funded. Anyway, bonkers, crazy time to be alive. Risk happens fast. All my usual little sayings. I got a buggle all in one slide almost. It's crazy. PancakeSwap's number 2, 81 days. Phantom's up there at 236 days. Photon, 210 days, etc. Axiom, a lot of other good players, but that is crazy. Again, crypto is very real. Makes a lot of money now. Hey, making waves and stock. Just a little bit of stock news. Some interesting news here. Stock fear and greed is down to 62. And well, crazy day. One crazy observation today is shout out to Marcus Aurelius. But S&P 500 opened at 5,911. It closed at 5,911 and had a huge 50 or 60 point swing. Beautiful dip because of all the chaos, options expiry, all that stuff. And remember, the next time the stock market opens, guess what? It's going to be June, a new month. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. Sometimes, June can be okay. And, after the sell in May, July can be okay too. August is always very sleepy. But we have a good 2 months left of good things kicking off. So watch this carefully. Still greedy, which is good. And Tesla Robotaxi, another fire piece of news, got greenlit in California, which is great. People thought there's no way the Californians will approve Elon Musk and Tesla launching their autonomous vehicles in California. Well, they have them and they're running around. They're transporting currently employees right now between their homes and the offices and the factories and all that stuff. So it's happening. And of course, Texas is going live in the 12th of June. Call it 13 days away. Big news. That event was great, by the way. And I don't like going to events, but that was a very nice event to go to. And remember, another piece of news too, what's coming down the pike that the world is not quite ready for, but the Tesla Unboxed process that will make things like the future Cybercab at scale in 2026 will mean a 40% reduction in the manufacturing footprint because they're going to be putting cars together in a three-dimensional way for the first time ever, and a 50% reduction in cost compared to the Model 3 and Model Y. And it'll all happen in Giga, Texas, Austin, Texas. So shout out to the Texans in the audience here. And also, Starship had the 9th flight success. When you look at this stuff, the size of the thing is like 450 tons going into space with the most powerful boosters ever made. It is something to behold. I've watched every one of them probably 9 times, the 9 flights 9 times, because I just find it, it's a miracle of physics. But remember, people say, oh, well, it didn't come back and everything else. But these launches are all about data. Everything we do in this channel is all about data too. Ignore the noise, study the data, and the data is used to improve its design. And each time they throw one of these things in the air, they manage hundreds of experiments, trying different coatings and tiles, fabrication techniques, boosters, all that good stuff. And they solved issues. And this is also the first time they threw a Starship into space with reusable, they reused the boosters, which is really cool. So the point is, I want to be able to put this thing into space and turn around within 2 hours and then launch it again to send hundreds of rockets to Mars to populate Mars. I don't think I've got the energy to go to Mars. I'm too old for that. But anyway, shout out to Carl Menger. The only way, it's great to see the Bitcoiners talk this way, because we've been talking about this for a long time. The only way to raise living standards over the long term is to raise productivity. Central banks can't raise productivity. They can only redistribute wealth from those who have little to those who already have a lot. That's the Cantillon effect, the money machine. But now the world is waking up. The way we need to escape and grow is through productivity. And the only way to do that is through things like AI and robots. And now the Bitcoiners are even saying the same thing. So it's wonderful. We're seeing more convergence between crypto and AI, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Speaking of more convergence, Optimus human robot made by Tesla will be on the Starship next year, going to Mars if everything works out according to plan. And it'll get there in 2027. They need to make sure they have enough of these things to do the work, get the whole place kind of tidied up and ready before a big party, before the actual real humans arrive. That's exactly part of the main mission for the humanoid robot called Optimus. Again, what a time to be alive. I personally, this is stuff that I dreamt about when I was 7 years of age, a long time ago. And now it's happening, which is cool. And speaking of more convergence and integration, XAI, Grok, and Telegram, crypto platform as well, sort of, and a messaging platform, more convergence between comms, telco, crypto, Telegram. Billion users are now partnering with Grok. It's craziness, at least allegedly partnering. Pavel said Telegram users will gain access to the best AI technology on the planet. And Elon Musk and Telegram have sort of penciled in an agreement. It's not formalized yet, as far as I understand, to bring XAI to Grok's, to Telegram's 1 billion users. By the way, a quick security risk here. I'm not on Telegram, but there's 16 of me on Telegram. None of them are me. I've never been on Telegram. I'll never reach out. So if anybody ever reaches out to you and pretends to be me, it's never me. I'm too busy. Remember that. But this is huge. Billion users. And this also strengthens Telegram's financial position, because I think they're going to have a 50-50 revenue split as well for the option, as well as a discount for XAI subscriptions sold through Telegram. So again, that is huge. And speaking of AI still, NVIDIA, the fastest ever company in the planet to grow from $1 billion to $22 billion in quarterly profit ever. And we know this, people didn't believe it back in 2021, 2022. Some people sold in 2022, not mentioning any names. Some people bought in 2022, and it's been a beautiful gift. But we know that this is possible, and this is what AI does. Exponential returns, that's just going to happen. And this is as CERN would say, the harbinger of what's to come for Tesla as well. And this is Apple being stagnant since 2020. The black choppy lines are Apple and their quarterly net income. And green is NVIDIA, which just eclipsed Apple. And what's interesting here, Apple has been stagnant since 2020. And they've spent, I think, hundreds of billions of dollars in stock buybacks too, to keep the stock price high. Again, they need some innovation. So Apple, get after it. And real estate, a little bit of bad real estate news for those. And this is the same, I hear the same stories out of the Netherlands, out of Germany, out of Australia, out of New Zealand, Canada. There are tons of sellers and no buyers in real estate. This is American data but there's over 500,000 more sellers than buyers. And I've got a couple of theories about this. I could be completely off. One of them is the young people who are trying to buy their first castle can't afford the high interest rates, the mortgage rates. And the second thing, I think the elderly population are downsizing. So there's a lot more glut. And I forecast this in one of my real estate videos years ago. The boomers, the 70-plus-year-old people, will be downsizing, selling the real estate, and FOMOing into Bitcoin. I'm only kidding. But I do believe a lot of other people here, because I know tons of anecdotal stories of people who are selling their real estate, renting homes and apartments, and investing. And then they're going to buy back their home in 3 to 4 years after they get their monstrous gains from AI and crypto. That's, again, stories I've heard 100 times in the last 6 months, maybe even more, from all over the world. This is not US specific. People are getting out of real estate and investing instead. Anyway, final piece of good news, if I'm not mistaken, before meme of the day, which is a funny one. This is Supercore PCE went negative for the first time since 2020. So basically, there's hardly a leg for Jerome Powell to stand on right now. Unemployment is so-called good. I don't think it's good, by the way. Inflation, PCE, core PCE is negative now for the first time since 2020. And a huge drop in financial services and fees. By the way, the financial services and insurance fees are also dead, because I also know a lot of people that can't afford to insure their homes or refinance their homes or get a mortgage. It's all connected. It's all connected, and we're seeing that here as well. Okay, finally, off to meme of the day. Elon Musk leaves government job for a much easier job of sending humans to Mars. Again, the joke is, it's impossible to make the government efficient. He thought he could do it. He failed. But there's a key lesson there as well in life. He saw it was impossible, and he failed fast. If ever you find yourself going down the wrong track, recognize it quickly, turn around, get out, do something different. And now he's going to focus on sending humans to Mars instead, which, jokingly, a lot easier than making the government more efficient. But for him, it probably actually is, which is the irony. Thank you all for coming. Hope you liked the show, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you once again to Sean D, K8, and the whole gang for coming. Hope you learned something new today. They were the top 15 stories from the week. Have a good night.